Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today we have the daring, the all-new British legendary destroyer to come to World of Warships Legends. I have the ship on loan for 2 weeks, and oh boy, I will not stop playing this thing. It is some of the most fun I've had in a destroyer in a long time. Uh, Let me put it this way: if right now you're researching in the bureau, the Burgoyne or one of the carriers, instantly cancel them. Just go ahead, trash it, put it on pause, throw it in the ice chest, get daring research now. Because if you are a destroyer player, you are just going to have a ton of fun with this hybrid destroyer, one that is not a master of any skills, but is just so well balanced and rounded that you end up kind of coming out ahead on pretty much everything. So it's absolutely fantastic. If you haven't been around for one of our reviews, we're going to go ahead, go over the commander, the modules, the consumables, go over the stats, then dive on into a game. So if that sounds interesting, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Tell me, are you a big destroyer player? Are you planning on fast tracking daring? I know I put all of the extra research points that I earned last campaign into this, and I will be putting all the current campaigns boosted research into this because that is just how excited I am for playing the ship. It's a total amount of fun, and I'm gonna miss it so much when wargaming takes away from me in 2 weeks. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and dive on in. And first things first, we're gonna go ahead and cover the commander, and we are running the good old Grot Maz Smart, the Warhammer Commander. Yes, that's right, the Warhammer Commander. Inspirations we are running are Sims and Bay, and then the skills we are running is Quick Fix. That's going to make it so that if we get hit in the engine or in the rudder, we're not totally disabled. Then we're running Look at Me Now. Then Perceptive, Bernie Daka, and Rather Be Torching. These three kind of work together because some of both Bernie Daka and Rather Be Torching have negative attributes, and Bernie Daka and Perceptive cancel those negative attributes out or nearly cancel them out, and then also give you a huge boost to your fire chance, which you'll be setting a ton of fires with this build. If you don't have Grot Maz, if you're a free-to-play player, you can get a very similar build by running Philip Vine. The only thing Vine doesn't have is that last slot. In that last slot, he doesn't have the special Bernie Daka skill, so you are going to have to deal with a slight reduction in your HE alpha as a result. So, I guess pay to win confirmed. I don't know, but anyways, we're sticking with our good friend Grot Maz Smart. As far as modules go, in the first slot, we are going to be running Aiming System Mod 1. In the second slot, we are going to be running Steering Gears Mod 2. In the third slot, we're going to be running Concealment. And in the final slot, I know you're probably like, oh, you're definitely going to run Main Battery Mod 3. I feel like that's the default. No! We're running Gunfire Control System Mod 2. This just got a buff this update, and it's a fantastic buff. Previously, it would only give you a 5% boost to range, and then you would have a significant reduction in your turret traverse speed. Now, just straight 10% boost in range, and you'll be using it to be able to farm battleships at longer ranges, and it's great. It's absolutely great. Throw it on there. I'm having a ton of fun with this buff. It has definitely changed up a couple of my builds. As far as consumables go, well, let's go ahead and dive on in. Of course, British destroyers, they are utility destroyers. They are, a hybrid destroyer with a good chunk of utility. So the consumables are as follows. We have the damage control party. You know it, you love it. 5-second duration, 38-second reload time. Then the smoke generator. It's going to last for 10 seconds, disperse for 40 seconds, and it's going to reload in 57 seconds, meaning you're going to be dealing with about 11 seconds of being exposed between smoke puffs, and you get 6 charges of them. Great, fantastic, love the British smokes. Lets you get in, cause some havoc, reposition, cause more havoc. It's great, I love it. After that, we have long duration sonar that the British destroyers are known for. So not huge long range, but you can have the sonar up for, well, a total of 9 minutes of a 15-minute match. So pretty good trade-off there. Detectability on torpedoes 2.5, detectability on ships 3.5 kilometers. It's going to last for 180 seconds, i.e. 3 minutes. It's going to reload in 114 seconds, and you're going to get 3 charges of it. And then finally, you get a heal, which it's not much, 243 health per second for 10 seconds, giving you 2,430 health recovered. So not a huge amount, but still a sizable chunk, right? That's going to boost your total effective health up to like 28,000, putting it among the most for the legendary destroyers. So, you know, daring, surprising tank of this class of ships. Okay, so that is our consumables. Let's go ahead and dive on into the stats. Daring 24,400 hit points with an armor thickness between 6 and 20 millimeters. Let's go ahead, take a look at that armor view. And I know, guys, it's a destroyer. You're not going to be very impressed with it because it's just coated in 19 millimeters of armor all around. And we can go ahead and remove all the bits, and you can see right there, there's the juicy non-citadel. Nothing really to get too excited about there. Bow armor 19 millimeters, deck armor 19 millimeters. Like I said, nothing too excited having to do with the Daring's armor set. As far as torpedo reduction on the vessel goes, well, you're looking at a whopping 0%. Main battery, though, pretty great. 3 2-barreled, 113 millimeter guns. So you're not going to be penning a lot. Basically, stick yourself to destroyers and superstructures of ships. You don't have much pen. AP is still great for farming damage, but it doesn't have much penetration value. Like, you can't even get through a Mino. Like, you're not citadeling a Mino in the Daring, even when it's broadside right next to you. It's just not happening. Reload range on those guns, though, pretty decent. 12.6 kilometers with a firing range of 2.8. With a reload time of 2.8 seconds, giving you a shell sprint of 129. 180 time on those guns, 7.2 seconds. HE damage, 1,717, giving you a DPM of 221,493. Only being beat out at the tier by the good old gearing, and I think maybe Kleber when you're using the main battery reload. So not much there, but you have some of the best fire chance at the tier, 11.5%, with guns that fire 2.8 every 2.8 seconds. You're gonna be causing fires with these things. AP damage 2,100, giving you a DPM of 270,900. If I recall, Daring does receive improved pen angles, much like Lightning. So, you know, you can absolutely use it when there's a broadside destroyer nearby. You just kind of want to test it out and see if it's worth it in the moment. Torpedoes, 2 5-barreled 533 millimeters with a reload time of 125 seconds. Damage is 16,767 with a detectability of 1.3 kilometers. Torp speed on them, 62 knots, which is kind of respectable. Range, 10 kilometers. So you can really use these how you want. Decently long reload on those torps. You could build, like we've built totally towards the guns, because I love playing destroyers as gunboats. But you could build towards the torps and make them a bit more effective. But I think it's just more fun and more effective to go with the guns, especially given the high fire chance. Anti-aircraft armament, well, it's okay. 5-kilometer range, minimum damage you're going to be doing 53, maximum 116. Maneuverability, max speed of the vessel is 36 knots, turning radius of 630 meters, the tightest turning circle of any destroyer at the tier, and a rudder shift time of 3.7 seconds. Finally, concealment, and all of this gets you a okay concealment. I'm going to say it's better than average at the tier. 5.4 kilometers by sea, 3 kilometers by air, and 2.4 kilometers when firing in smoke. Of course, we didn't fully build for concealment, so we could probably get down a little bit further. And we're really, according to my numbers or according to my builds, the only thing that is out spotting us is going to be Shima's, and that kind of checks out. Also, one thing to note, you are the slowest destroyer at the tier, and we are running a speed flag when these numbers were taken. So be prepared. You can be easily outrun. You give up that kind of utility. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive on into a match in this ship. So welcome to Sleeping Giant. We've gone ahead and spawned over on the A side, and well, when you're over here, you kind of have two options. One, you play middle, or you take a while and you go around the outside and you kind of try to scoot into A, or at least when you're playing capture the base, it's kind of your option. As far as my plan right here, I'm like, well, I am one of the best gunboat destroyers, and I have the utility of sonar, and I have a easy choke point that I can squirt into. So my goal: beeline towards A, get A, then kind of let the battle play out a little. Go from there. We're gonna go ahead and drop some torps into B just in case there's a destroyer that comes that way. If you notice there, we do get the single fire ability, much like every other British destroyer. And I do love the single fire torp ability. Really lets you put out some wonky spreads, and also if you have a ship that you know is going to go somewhere, you can kind of stack them in areas that you think are going to. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it works out perfectly, and we'll see that a little bit later in the match. Anyways, we got a Minotaur over here. I think we spotted him. None of our teammates really shooting at him, which is unfortunate given just how open water he is. But we're going to go ahead, kind of come around the corner. We get another spotting ribbon. I don't know. Are we spotting that battleship over by C, I think? I guess. I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, we've safely made it into our area. We get radar detected. We're going to go ahead, give the Minotaur a little love tap of fire, get 4 pens. These guns, the HE, will do some decent damage, surprisingly good damage up against a Minotaur. We scored into A, safely avoiding that radar. I think that radar was from across that Kronstadt, and we just kind of caught the end bit of it. But we can see we have a teammate in B currently. We're capturing A. We're like, okay, let's see just how the rest of this match is starting to play out. We go ahead, pop our first sonar. We're doing this so that we can attempt to see if there's anyone hugging the island to try to come around into the area. We're trying to get an idea, see if there's anyone going over there. We have the RPF not pointing that way, but that could always be because there's a destroyer just out in the middle. And hey, there's a destroyer. It's gearing. Let's go ahead and start engaging this gearing, and then we'll start to move across out into the open water. We do need to be careful, just because, of course, there is that Minotaur. We can see gearing has fully smoked up, and we're like, okay, this is a good moment. We can go ahead, use this time where he's deciding to take concealment. We can go ahead and push ourselves in. We're going to try to dump our set of torps into the smoke as well. And we can see as we are doing that, a set of gearing torps is coming towards us. We can see where he is currently kind of going as the smoke continues to encroach into the area. Of course, we do have this sonar that, remember, we started back in A, and we're at the halfway point. So burning the sonars here is great because you're just able to do some things. Gearing fires, I guess he just pulls a little bit too forward out of the smoke, and we're going to be able to start engaging. We can see those torpedoes looking like they are beautifully on target, but we won't need to. You can see we're using the AP, and we are just able to gun him down. We're nice in here. We're safe. I'm kind of surprised we're not taking any large amounts of fire. There we go. We're starting to get fires from what I assume is the Minotaur. Trying to get behind the island here and then see if we can give a little bit of love taps into this Shimakaze. Also, we can see Kleber, the other destroyer, kind of coming around here. We're going to drop some torps in case he makes the turn into that one channel. We're starting to get a little bit too much heat, so we're going to pop the brakes, pop the smoke, let things cool down, let them reset, make sure we get B, and then let things breathe. And, that sequence right there is kind of a lot of what gearing is about. Contestant caps, pushing enemies when you need to, using that utility when it's necessary, and it's absolutely fun. Next up, though, I think we're going to end up showing off the wonderful HE performance, especially on enemy battleships, because what this ship can do to enemy battleships with its guns, it's a little gross. It's a little fantastic. It warms my heart But before we do that, we have to run into a navigational hazard right here. And by that, I mean this island. We're going to go ahead and pop that first heal just to get a little bit of the health, get that timer cycling. Once again, we can see we've kind of used a lot of our utility. It's almost all on cooldown right there. And that's what you want to be doing in daring. You want to use all of the tools you have in your arsenal up against these guys. We see Grosse Kernfürst right over here. He has a fire on him already. And we're like, okay, well, we have this island right here. We're starting to get detected by, I think Kronstadt's radar came off of cooldown. He's going to go ahead and use that. We're positioning ourselves right here. We have excellent angles. First salvo on the GK, we are able to get a fire, and now we can just go ahead and start farming that superstructure of his for more and more. We're being spotted, which I don't quite know where we are being spotted from. We go ahead and pop the smoke just so that we don't have to really worry about taking any more incoming fire. And now we are just going to town on this GK. We get another fire right here. We can see he is pretty much done with how it is right now. Another fire right there. It's like the fires that you end up setting with daring are just beautiful. Yamato, well, he's kind of running for his life because he realizes there's a destroyer right next to him. He doesn't want to deal with that. We're going to go ahead, push a little bit more forward in the smoke, try to start to engage him. We were checking the torpedo indicator. There is that small gap. We're going to attempt to shoot the torpedoes through that little gap, just because depending on the way he maneuvers, we may be able to get a couple of hits through here. You know, you got the torps. You can go ahead and just throw them where you want. With daring, what I like to do is use the single fire, but only use one set of torps at a time, just to kind of throw out guesses on where I think we can go ahead and use the torps. We can see Yamato already on fire right here. That first set of torps is looking really good as far as our blind guess. He does end up dropping off spot here. Unfortunately, the first torpedo runs into the island. A little bit too much spread, and it hits the ground right there. We get one hit with a torpedo. Good 15,000 damage right there. He starts flooding. We're like, okay, let's go ahead, set up this next round of torpedoes. Another set of torpedoes coming in on us. We know, okay, probably the enemy, probably the Kleber is somewhat nearby trying to deal with us. Yamato ends up going down right there. Cool. That's one battleship dealt with. There's another full health Musashi. And, well, we're over here. How do we want to proceed? Because at this point in the battle, we're up on ships, but we can easily be down on ships, right? You know, one poorly positioned ship, and we could be all tied up. So how do we want to proceed? We can see the enemy is taking B. We could try to go in there, contest B, but at this moment, I don't want to. And the main reason is because of the positioning of my team. If I look up at the mini map, we are now only one ship ahead. All of our ships are on this side of this set of islands. All of the enemy ships are on the other side of this set of islands. It will not behoove me to try to engage the entire rest of the enemy team. It just won't go well. So, we're gonna do what we can. We're gonna first cap over here at C, get this converted because we can see they're converting B, but we want to maintain our points lead. So we're gonna go ahead, sit in here, see if the Kleber wants to try to challenge us. Right? He's in a very similar situation. He's just their last destroyer. And we're like, okay, that's probably going to be one way we can go ahead and think about this. Then the RPF switches, and we know there is one ship that could absolutely do us some really bad damage, and that is the Minotaur right here. We're going to go ahead and start spotting him because, as we said before, our team over here, fairly well sorted, right? Our entire team is over on this side. If we can provide spot, Minotaurs, not exactly known for their ability to have high amounts of armor, and we have all of our guns on this side. So we're going to go ahead and let him start to get some hits, try to provide the spotting. I don't know if we're exclusively providing the spotting at this moment. So we go ahead, pop the smoke, and you can see we're able to do some pretty decent damage to him. He threw some torps down at us. We're going to see if we can go ahead and finish this Mino off. Of course, like we said, thin armor. The HE easily able to pen the Minnow. The AP not so much, especially if you're trying to go for those glorious citadels. So Minotaur handled. We are now up 2 ships to 3, but they are now going to start accruing extra points, which is never any good. So we're going to go ahead, try to get a little bit of distance between us and the rest of our team, right? Clumping up, while it can be helpful if you have will to rebuild, it's not the most helpful when you're trying to get unique angles, when you're trying to get broadsides, when you're trying to get shots that your team can't hit. So we see our cruiser, I think it's Kronstadt, kind of pushing in, nosing in towards the enemy Musashi in the other lane. We're going to go ahead and cut behind this Musashi. We're going to do a couple of things while we're back here. One, we're making sure our torpedoes are ready to go. With our single file spread, we are going to be able to dump them towards the Musashi so that he kind of has a choice. Either A, he can show his cheek to the Kronstadt, or he can eat some torps. And we'll go ahead and let him make the decision. We still got 2 smokes to use, so plenty of time to kind of push out here and start to engage the Musashi. We can see Kleber also pops up here. You see we're going to dump the full load of torps over on Musashi, guessing that he's going to go ahead and hit forward on his throttle. Then we see we kind of flip over to AP. We can getting some pretty good damage even on the upper belt of the Musashi. Musashi now guns it and turns out, giving his broadside to our teammates, which is fine. It's exactly what we wanted to do. We end up tagging him with 2 of the torpedoes at this moment. We're going to go ahead, just continue to use the shells. We know he's popped a damage con. If we can get a fire, yay, extra damage. We're up to 125,000 damage. We're doing well, right? Test the AP here just because we kind of dropped a bit on AP damage, and we can see even when the Musashi is essentially nose in but rear in on us, we are getting some pretty respectable damage even with the AP into that superstructure. So Musashi done, dealt with, excellent. Who's next? Yamato. And I'm like, oh, our torpedoes are already, oh, they're not already up. This is the one downside to using the single file torps. If you don't empty the tube, the reload doesn't start. And if the reload doesn't start, you can find yourself like, oh, I still have torpedoes. Oh, I don't have torpedoes. And that's kind of what happened to us there. Yamato gets absolutely slapped by our team. We're like, okay, let's just go ahead, start those fires. Once again, we're up to 7 fires, up to 130,000 damage. Our single torpedo is bravely heading out to Yamato right now. And also, we're just going for the cap right here just because we want those points. Yamato ends up taking out our Kronstadt. No surprise there. We set what I guess is a permanent fire on him since he doesn't seem too interested in putting it out. We're seeing if we can start another fire just to make sure that he gets eliminated, but no need there. Montana knocks him out, and we're going to go ahead and finish the cap. Unfortunately, the Kleber, never seen from again, he sails off into the distance. So as far as my final thoughts on Daring, I love this boat. It is a ton of fun to play. It is a super exciting one. And it kind of really brings the gunboat. It's the best of the gunboat playstyle, right? You got three turrets that all have 360-degree rotation. You got 2 sets of really decent torps. You got smokes that you can, engage, disengage, set up another smoke screen. You're not waiting long turns between the smoke screen. You got the fire ability. This is the complete package of a destroyer, and it is, like I said, it has quickly become my favorite tier or legendary tier destroyer. I think if you enjoy your destroyers, like I said at the beginning, start researching it because you will absolutely love it. We end up ending the match. I think we get like 30,600 experience for a pretty good game. But yeah, guys, if you like the video, 399, there we go. If you like the video, go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.